They connected Rome to China, traded gold for silk, and helped spread Buddhism across continents. Yet, few remember their name. This is the story of the Kushan Empire, an ancient power that once ruled over a vast stretch of Central Asia and the Indian subcontinent. Their empire wasn't built on conquest alone, but commerce. They didn't just fight wars, they shaped religions. This is the Historia Lens, and today we uncover the rise and fall of the forgotten empire that ruled the Silk Road. Our story begins with the Yuezhi nomadic tribes from western China, driven westward by the powerful Xiongnu. By 130 BCE, they had settled in Bactria, a region in modern-day Afghanistan and Tajikistan, rich in Greek culture left behind by Alexander the Great's successors. It was here the Yuezhi began their transformation, from tent-dwelling tribes to rulers of cities, from wanderers to kings. One clan among them would rise above the rest, the Kushans. They established firm control over Bactria, learning from the Hellenistic systems of governance and merging them with their own tribal customs. The Kushans were not simply conquerors, they were adapters. Over generations, they transitioned from a confederation of tribes into a centralized monarchy. A unique experiment in state building was underway. By the 1st century CE, under the leadership of Kujula Kadphises, the Kushans began unifying the Yuezhi clans. His reign marked the beginning of a dynasty that would span 3 centuries. His successors, especially Vima Kadphises and Vima Takhtu, consolidated control over the fertile regions of the Indus and expanded east into the Ganges Valley. But it was under Emperor Kanishka the Great, around 127 CE, that the Kushan Empire truly blossomed. Stretching from the Aral Sea in the north to the Ganges Delta in the south, and from the edges of the Iranian Plateau to the western Himalayas, the Kushan realm was vast and strategically vital. They controlled the key arteries of trade caravans of silk from China, Roman glassware and wine, Indian spices, and Central Asian horses all passed through their checkpoints. The Silk Road was not a single route, but a complex network, and the Kushans served as its stewards. They built rest stations, fortified cities, and secure borders, all to ensure trade continued to thrive. The Kushan Empire was one of the most cosmopolitan of the ancient world. Greeks, Persians, Indians, Sogdians, and Chinese coexisted within its cities. Multilingual inscriptions have been found in Greek, Bactrian, Sanskrit, and Prakrit, testimony to the cultural fusion at play. Nowhere is this synthesis clearer than in Gandhara art, a unique style that blended Greek realism with Indian spirituality. Kushan rulers sponsored the creation of Buddhist art using techniques inherited from the Hellenistic world. Realistic drapery, naturalistic poses, and serene expressions. One can imagine Buddhist monasteries adorned with statues resembling Greek gods, yet deeply rooted in Indian religious ideas. These were not mere aesthetic experiments, they were symbols of ideological fusion. Under Kanishka, the Kushans became legendary patrons of Buddhism. The Fourth Buddhist Council, held in Kashmir under his patronage, was a turning point in Buddhist doctrine. Mahayana Buddhism emerged and was codified, a branch that emphasized compassion and the bodhisattva ideal. Monasteries flourished. Pilgrims and missionaries traveled freely under Kushan protection. The empire served as a launchpad for Buddhism to spread to Central Asia and eventually China, Korea, and Japan. Yet Kanishka himself did not restrict his support to Buddhism. Kushan coins feature Greek gods like Helios and Selene, Indian deities like Shiva and Skanda, and Zoroastrian fire altars. This wasn't confusion, it was policy, a calculated expression of inclusivity and power. By embracing the gods of their subjects, the Kushans created a unifying ideology that transcended ethnicity and language. If power could be minted, it would look like a Kushan coin. Struck in high-quality gold, silver, and copper, Kushan coinage featured rulers in regal attire, capes, boots, swords, and diadems, and gods drawn from multiple pantheons. The inscriptions were in Greek or Bactrian script, even when the languages were fading elsewhere. These coins weren't merely used locally. They traveled. Finds of Kushan coins in Sri Lanka, the Persian Gulf, China, and Central Asia indicate far-reaching trade relationships. Kushan merchants traded not just goods, but ideas. Their empire was not a closed economy. It was an artery through which the ancient world breathed and connected. Diplomatic missions were exchanged with Rome and Han China. Some scholars even suggest that Roman embassies visited Kanishka's court. All golden ages end. By the mid-3rd century, cracks appeared in the empire's foundation. Internal rebellions and regional autonomy weakened central authority. The rise of the Sasanian Empire in Persia posed a new military threat in the west. In the east, the Gupta Empire began consolidating power in northern India. Control over trade routes began to slip. Maritime trade, which bypassed Central Asia altogether, became more important. The Silk Road shifted north and south. The lifeblood of Kushan wealth over land commerce dried up. By the late 4th century, the once vast Kushan Empire was reduced to small principalities. Eventually, these too were absorbed by larger states or destroyed in wars and migrations. For centuries, the Kushans faded from historical memory, their monuments buried, their stories lost. But archaeology has brought them back to life. Excavations at sites like Bagram and Mathura have unearthed palatial rooms, ivory carvings, Gandharan statues, and hoards of coins. Inscriptions in Bactrian and Sanskrit provide names, dates, and events, helping us reconstruct a past that once seemed unknowable. Modern historians now see the Kushans as pivotal to the cultural and economic history of Eurasia. They were among the first empires to consciously build unity through diversity, not by forcing conformity, but by celebrating multiplicity. The Kushan Empire may not be etched into school textbooks, but its legacy endures. It lives in the spread of Mahayana Buddhism, in the Gandhara sculptures preserved in museums, in the coins that still sparkle with forgotten glory. The Kushans were connectors of civilizations, diplomats of diversity, architects of an ancient globalization. Through the Historia Lens, we remember those the world has forgotten. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more stories from the lost chapters of Asian history.